Here we go. Go time. First set, 135 for 5. I have briefs on, beltless. This is my what I call my grease the groove sets, the first couple. I'm always going to start with my hips slightly higher, just finding the rhythm. The focus is always the same, good hard push and rapid intent to acceleration once I get to mid shin. As we get further on, the hips start to sink, the knees continue to push out, and we get into proper pulling position. Second set, 185. You can see the velocity scores are on the left-hand side. Again, you can see here, dropping the hips slightly more, pushing the knees out, forearms against the inner thigh, big push off the ground, and then hard acceleration to finish. And this has been the key when I get into what I consider my sub-max and almost max effort loads, is I am doing an excellent job of accelerating the finish. 225, you can still see I'm over 1 meters peak velocity. That's key to me, keeping that as close to 1.0 or faster for as many sets and for as heavier load as possible. Right here is when I first started feeling at 225, a little bit of the Kabuki PR Deadlift Bar's flex. I think I'm going to see more of it when I start pulling from a traditional 9-inch pull. This was approximately 11 inches as I get closer to full pulls. I've started putting on a soft belt earlier in the training progression as it helps me cue not just pushing the belly out, but also filling my whole diaphragm and stomach up with air through the obliques, which I call fish gilling, pushing out, which also helps me focus on pushing the knees out as I lock the lats down, pull the hips back, big push, accelerate to finish. We get into the 300 range. Now the Inzard first generation deadlift suit is on for a set of 3 straps down with briefs. The flex continues to get into play as the loads get heavier. A good patient pull, accelerate hard. That's my key for a successful lift for me personally. Patient, really slow to fast push off the ground. Once the bar breaks mid-shin, then I'm really trying to emphasize maximal concentric acceleration. Again, this is 365, and I'm still maintaining a pretty solid speed at peak velocity. I very rarely look at average velocity until I get into the high 80s or over 90%. And as you can see, a slow push, fast acceleration. I felt really good here. I knew today could be a pretty solid day until the last set when the grip fell out. So you can see here how well the peak velocity is for the first 2 reps. The third rep, I'm going to be honest with you, focus was not there. I knew I had the third. If I would have, in my mind, said I was doing 5, I believe the third rep would have been a lot better, but the 5th rep would have tailed off. Here, the flex is starting to kick in. I felt really good on this first rep. The grip was holding really good here. I really like these pulls. As you can see from compensation issues as well as injuries, this is an even push for me, but you'll see the right foot is turned out or angled out slightly more than the left. So here was the one I thought was going to set me up for another 1 rep jump, possibly to 485, depending on how this went. I think this would have been a better rep if I didn't start losing my grip in the last at about the knee height. And that was on the left hand, which is the torn rotator cuff hand, as well as the hand I had, or the elbow I had, ulnar collateral nerve issues, cubital tunnel syndrome, so to speak. So the pinky and the ring finger sometimes act up on me. Here is the starting height.